Nightmare at 20,000 Feet is episode 123 of the American television anthology series, The Twilight Zone, based on the short story of the same name by Richard Matheson. First published as Alone by Night in 1961, it originally aired on October 11, 1963, and is one of the most well-known and frequently referenced episodes of the series. The story follows the only passenger on an airline flight to notice a hideous creature lurking outside the plane. Portrait of a Frightened Man. Mr. Robert Wilson, 37, husband, father, and salesman on sick leave. Mr. Wilson has just been discharged from a sanatorium where he spent the last 6 months recovering from a nervous breakdown, the onset of which took place on an evening not dissimilar to this one, on an airliner very much like the one in which Mr. Wilson is about to be flown home. The difference being that, on that evening, half a year ago, Mr. Wilson's flight was terminated by the onslaught of his mental breakdown. Tonight, he's traveling all the way to his appointed destination, which, contrary to Mr. Wilson's plan, happens to be in the darkest corner of the Twilight Zone. While traveling by airplane, Robert Wilson sees a gremlin on the wing. He tries to alert his wife and the flight crew, but every time someone else looks out of the window, the gremlin hides itself near the engine, so Robert's claim seems crazy. Robert admits the oddness of the gremlin avoiding everyone else's sight, but not his. His credibility is further undermined by this being his first flight since suffering a nervous breakdown 6 months earlier, which also occurred on an aircraft. Robert realizes that his wife is starting to think he needs to go back to the sanatorium, but his more immediate concern is the gremlin tinkering with the wiring under one of the engine cowlings, which could cause the aircraft to crash. In response to his repeated attempts to raise an alarm about the gremlin, the crew gives Robert a sedative to stop him from alarming other passengers. Robert pretends to down it with water, but does not swallow and secretly spits it out. He then steals a sleeping police officer's revolver, straps himself in to avoid being blown out of the aircraft, and opens the emergency exit door to shoot the gremlin. Once the airplane is landed, everyone believes that Robert has gone insane. In a straitjacket, as he is whisked away on a gurney, Robert tells his wife that he is alone in his knowledge of what really happened during the flight. However, the final scene reveals conspicuous damage to the exterior of one of the aircraft's engines, confirming that Robert was right all along. The flight of Mr. Robert Wilson has ended now. A flight not only from point A to point B, but also from the fear of recurring mental breakdown. Mr. Wilson has that fear no longer, though for the moment he is, as he has said, alone in this assurance. Happily, his conviction will not remain isolated too much longer, for happily, tangibly, manifestation is very often left as evidence of trespass, even from intangible a quarter as the Twilight Zone. So check out this classic Twilight Zone episode on DVD, Blu-ray, or streaming, and I'll see you in the next exciting video.